Where are we today? In Sofia, capital of Bulgaria, in Eastern Europe. I'm trying to warm up, but there isn't really a proper warm-up area. Reaching the start area and dropping my bag was a bit of a mess because the roads were closed, because there was a 10k race that started like 20 minutes before, so it was really messy. Seemed to be the first 10k runners. Look. So here I am in Belgrade doing my usual 3 times 2.5k race weeks Wednesday pre-race run. Unfortunately, there isn't really a good place to run in Belgrade. Further down this way there is an artificial lake that you can run around, but it's a little bit too far, so I thought I could run along the embankment of the river. This is River Sava. Just a few hundred meters downstream there is the Danube. So it's the confluence of the Sava River and Danube River, so 2 big rivers. So I thought it was going to be flat and easy to run, but unfortunately it's all under construction and there is no runnable stretch of more than 400 or 500 meters. So it's going to be difficult. So I'm just doing some running today. Alright, so this is Belgrade's citadel. This is River Sava, flows into River Danube over there, the big one, going this way, east. Okay, so at least I got to see the iconic view of Belgrade that you see in all the postcards. Yeah, there is really no proper place to warm up. I'm going to try to do some strides. I run like 1 kilometer from home to here. From what I've seen, Sofia is not really a city that is prepared for running. No good pavements, not really flat. I haven't seen a lot of runners out there, no running culture, no fountains. Alright, I haven't been able to warm up properly at all, but it's 5 minutes to the start now. So I need to get to the start line.
So as you can see, there was not really a vibrant atmosphere on the start line. Some applause, but no music, no fireworks whatsoever. There was barely a speaker. Also, there was no properly defined corral, so I tried to find a place about 50 meters behind the front line.
So, bottleneck at the start. It is very slow.
So I guess I should have moved further towards the front line before the start, because I found myself stuck from the beginning. I had to weave around lots of runners during the first like 2 kilometers, which was not easy on these slippery cobblestones and uneven pavement, and also these tramway rails, as you can see. So I probably lost around 30 seconds or so in the first couple of kilometers, trying to not roll my ankle and pass people.
This is very tricky. Market most.
So I lost quite a bit of energy at this early stage, but the GPS was still marking reasonable good splits, so I wanted to believe. At kilometer 2.5 it opened up into a wide straight avenue that was much more runnable. It was a straight stretch of 6 kilometers and then a U-turn and another 6 back. There was no support at all for the most part of the course, except for a handful of music spots here and there. Also no kilometer marker, only this 5k sign here. Oops, I almost missed the water station while I was looking at the 5k sign on the other side of the road. It appeared a little bit by surprise and I was not expecting it, and also it was rather short. At least they were handing over the cups, which is arguably better than having to grab them directly from the table. But the cups were half empty, so you end up drinking very little. And honestly, I think I lost around 5 to 10 seconds at each water station due to having to slow down to grab the cup, and then the time it takes to drink, which is not easy from a cup, much easier from a bottle. And of course the loss of concentration, because you sort of lose your pace. So not only was the course lacking proper kilometer markers, but also this rather long tunnel meant that 4 of the splits on my GPS were totally wrong, and so I didn't know whether the GPS was ahead or behind of the real distance, and it was difficult for me to know if my pace was on target. As you can see here, this is the third of 4 sharp U-turns, which undoubtedly means quite a few seconds lost. There is a 30k sign here because the race is mixed with the marathon, but it doesn't match the half marathon distance, so it's not useful for me. And yes, no pacers at all for this race, as you may have noticed. Here we're entering the tunnel again on the way back. So for this race I had chosen the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo because I had quite a good experience in a couple of weeks leading up to this race and a couple of 5k races back home. But in this occasion the shoes didn't help. My stride is not bouncy at all, as you can appreciate, so I guess it was just not my day today. Here are some rails again. So at this point it had to become obvious that no PB was going to be possible on that day, but still it was not too bad, so I thought perhaps an altitude adjusted PB could be on the cards, so that kept me somewhat motivated. So here we're entering the city center again. The course becomes more scenic and there's also a little bit more support, but we also have to dodge the rails and the slippery and uneven cobblestones. As you can see, some people are running with the jackets. It was not necessary as far as I'm concerned. It was a little bit chilly, but not too much. Not too much wind either. It was also cloudy, so no need to look for the shade. In fact, I was wearing a cap more to drain sweat away from my forehead than to protect me from the sun. Again, a few seconds lost here drinking water around kilometer 15. In fact, I think I only drank twice in the course of 21k, so I missed quite a few water stations that were not properly announced or caught me by surprise, or were simply located on the wrong side of the road and you had to make a huge detour just to grab water. Here ahead of me another nasty climb on a bridge. It was not a hilly course as such, but it felt a bit like a roller coaster with a total of about 100 meters of elevation gain, which according to an online calculator represents about 1 minute lost over the course of a half marathon. This is Sofia's most iconic monument, a pretty nice cathedral really, that you get to see after 20 kilometers. At this point I wanted to push the last kilometer, but my legs were not really responding, and also I did not want to risk rolling my ankles on these really tricky cobblestones. And quite honestly, the almost complete lack of support did not encourage me to sprint on the finish line. So it was a rather hard race. It ended up being 1 hour and 42 minutes, which if you adjust it for altitude would be like 1 hour 40 roughly, and then if you take 1 minute off for the elevation, that would be 1 hour 39.
Oof. That was a hard one. Roller coaster, up and down all the time.
And then yeah, the time lost in the first 2Ks and then the water stations and perhaps the wrong choice of shoes. So it means in other circumstances it could have been like virtually 1 hour and 38 minutes, which is exactly my PB, which means I'm not in a bad shape.
Yeah, not bad.
But it was obviously not the great performance I would have liked. So the lessons I learned from this race are first of all that mental is crucial. I do need to work on that. Also I need to take care of my nutrition when traveling, because in this case I gained around 2 kilos during the 5 days before the race. On top of the 3 kilos I was already above my ideal race weight. Also perhaps next time I should try to take my pillow with me and see if I can sleep better. Not sure. I need to practice drinking from the cardboard cups, perhaps take 2 cups each time, don't know.
Ice cream? Oh, I don't know ice cream. No ice cream, it's cold enough.
I need to arrive earlier at the start and have a better warm-up. I need to position myself better inside the corral. I need to focus on the form rather than on the pace or the performance, or trying to calculate my probabilities of running a PB. Perhaps I shall try racing in the Deviate Nitro Elite 3 next time, because I didn't really feel the bounce in the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo today. Also, hopefully next time I'll have a better and more meaningful session on the Wednesday before the race. And in terms of doing a little excursion on the Saturday before the race, I think that's actually a good idea, because it keeps me entertained, it's actually not too tiring, and it keeps the nerves at bay. So overall, I'm rather happy with this week in Serbia and Bulgaria. I think it was a good balance of tourism and racing. The performance was not excellent, but not too bad either. So I'll keep training for my next half marathon, which by the time this video comes out should be in a week or 2. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more races with ratings coming up. And in the meantime, you may want to watch my previous half marathon in Copenhagen, which was a rather good performance despite the rain. Or I would also suggest this video where I explain how I finally managed to cut down my 5K PB this summer.